Welcome to the Guru Immigration YouTube channel. This is part 1 of our 2-part series covering 30 essential topics for international students planning to study in Canada. In part 1, we will discuss topics 1 to 15, including study permit eligibility, the application process, financial support, the letter of explanation, biometrics, medical exams, family details, travel history, academic criteria, work experience, using consultants, student direct stream, post-graduation work, bringing family, student housing, and health insurance. In part 2, we will cover topics 16 to 30, such as travel booking tips, visa centers, SDS language tests, police clearances, application fees, permit refusals, extending your stay, changing institutions, working on/off campus, re-entering Canada, bringing dependents, biometrics exemption, custodianship for minors, and arrival checklist. Let's dive into part 1. Study permit eligibility. To get a Canadian study permit, you'll need to meet some basic requirements like being accepted into a designated learning institution, having enough funds, and a valid travel document. Different permit categories exist too, so check if you qualify for the faster student direct stream based on your home country. If studying in Quebec, you may also need that province's acceptance certificate. But some nationalities or short program lengths can allow you to skip the study permit. Applying for a Canadian study permit? First up, identify the correct visa office to submit your application based on where you currently live. Check processing times too and apply well before your program start date. You can apply online or by mail, but make sure you have all the required docs ready like your acceptance letter, travel documents, and proof of funds. And don't forget to pay those application and biometrics fees up front. Studying in Canada requires proving you have sufficient funds to cover tuition, living costs, and travel. Provide official bank statements, student loans, scholarship letters, any legitimate proof of your finances. You may be able to use family funds too if you have a cosigner. Options like opening a Canadian bank account or getting a GIC can also help. Just be ready to explain the source and trail of your funds. Your letter of explanation to the visa officer is crucial. Highlight your academic achievements, future goals, and specific reasons for choosing your Canadian program and school. Convince them you genuinely plan to return home after graduating. If there are any gaps or issues in your application, address them upfront. Keep your letter clear, persuasive, and error-free. Simple but effective. Depending on your age and citizenship, you may need to provide biometrics like fingerprints and photos for your Canadian study permit. Find your nearest biometrics collection site and book an appointment. A medical exam could also be required, so get that done early if needed. Carry proper ID to your biometrics visit and be prepared to explain any medical conditions or criminal records. If your family like parents, spouse, or kids will be coming with you to Canada, you'll need to provide details about them and their immigration status. Get consent forms signed by those accompanying you and show proof you can cover their expenses too. You'll also need to explain any family ties that could raise immigration risk concerns. Supporting docs like marriage or birth certificates are a must. For your Canadian study permit application, be prepared to share a detailed record of all your international travels over the past decade, including dates, destinations, and purposes. Explain any gaps or inconsistencies upfront. Provide copies of previous visas, entry/exit stamps, and other supporting documents. Disclose any prior visa denials, deportations, or inadmissibility issues too. But highlight legitimate travel reasons like tourism or business. When applying to study in Canada, do your research and apply to a school designated and approved by the CHAR-CC Immigration Authority. Meet all admission criteria like language test scores and provide transcripts from your previous studies. Get that all-important unconditional letter of acceptance from your chosen institution. Be ready to submit course syllabi and diplomas too. If there are any gaps in your academic career, explain them satisfactorily. If you have any relevant full-time or part-time work experience, highlight that in your Canadian study application. Provide employment letters that describe your roles and responsibilities. Explain any career gaps or frequent job changes too. Discuss how this Canadian education will enhance your career prospects back home, but avoid implying any intention to work in Canada without proper authorization. Simple tips to make your application stronger. If you're using an immigration consultant for your Canadian study application, verify that they are an authorized and regulated Canadian immigration consultant, or RCIC. Check their license status and background on the official ICCRC website. Get a detailed contract listing all the services they'll provide and the fees involved. And avoid any unlicensed consultants who try to guarantee visa approvals. That's a red flag. If you're eligible based on your home country, consider applying through Canada's Student Direct Stream for faster processing and reduced documentation requirements. You'll need to meet higher financial requirements and language score thresholds. Apply online through the SDS portal, pay the fees, and be prepared to submit biometrics and attend an interview if requested. Efficient stream for qualified students. While applying for your Canadian study permit, take a look at pathways like the post-graduation work permit that allows you to stay and work temporarily after graduating. Maintain a strong academic record to be eligible. You can also explore permanent residency options later through express entry linked to your PGWP work experience. But avoid hinting at any immigration intentions right now. Decide early if your spouse, partner, or children will be accompanying you to Canada during your studies. Check what permits they're eligible for and if they can study or work. Show you have sufficient funds for their living expenses too. Provide supporting docs like marriage and birth certificates. And explain your plans for childcare, schooling, and family accommodation. Research your on-campus and off-campus housing options near your Canadian institution. Estimate costs based on your family size and preferred location. If possible, provide proof of prearranged accommodation. Explain your housing budget and legitimate source of funds for rent. But avoid implying any intentions to purchase property on a study permit. Affordable housing tips incoming. Understand the health insurance requirements for international students in your Canadian province or territory. Many institutions provide mandatory coverage plans, so check if yours does. Budget for any upfront insurance costs not covered. Explore supplemental plans for services not included. And disclose any pre-existing conditions requiring treatment. Your health is wealth. Thanks for watching part 1 of our series on essential topics for international students planning to study in Canada. We hope you found the information helpful. Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll cover more important topics to help you succeed in your journey. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, share it with your friends, and hit the bell icon to get notified when part 2 is released. See you soon.